Great to have you join us on this week's episode of Arthouse. I'm Melinda Akinlami. Coming up on the program. We enjoyed this opening exhibition at a gallery in Lagos. Then in another part of the commercial city, we go behind the scene and enjoy the work process by former president of the Society of Nigerian Artists. We have that and more after we hear from our wordsmith for this week.
Our wordsmith and artwork this week is by Iwash Art, titled Wealthy But Hungry. We live in a society that's blessed. The same society is less. Blessed by nature, cursed by nature, a giant so called, a dwarf so clear. She's envied, yet she is pitied. Her beauty has become a curse. Even now she fears, she cries, she dies. Only a miracle can save her, but from where comes her miracle? Election or selection? Appointment or disappointment? Only a miracle.
Thank you for those words. Nigeria will surely flourish again. The opening exhibition of Rele Gallery in Lagos attracts quite a crowd, all anxious to see the maiden collection.
Subtle Textures. That's the title of this inaugural exhibition, which features 6 artists serving the audience unique lines, forms and shapes through the foundation of art drawing.
Our inaugural exhibition is titled Subtle Textures, which is a showing of artists who work in drawing media. And for this exhibition, we are thinking about the generative qualities of drawing, where drawing is seen as this formative tool to create worlds and ideas and narratives, which was very similar to our own vision for the space itself, where the space is seen as a place where informative space for the creation of ideas, whether it's from artists' works or just general programming around the arts. And so it felt very important for us, to start with that. So also thinking of drawing as sort of like a preparatory medium, both as something like a sketch, but also a finished product in itself.
Any artist worth his salt must have a firm hold of this preparatory medium, so this exhibition is a gentle reminder about its essence. Although other colorful painting and prints still find their way here, which is in line with the idea for this space, a melting pot for diverse creations.
We are thinking of the gallery space as an entire independent entity on its own. And so it was very important for us to think about what drawing meant and all the different approaches to drawing, which is why we have different artists exploring diverse ways of thinking about drawing, from drawings with smoke to drawings in charcoal and graphite and even digital media.
Our gallery is known primarily for young artists. It's a place where young artists feel the freedom to be able to explore and express themselves. And we're not wavering from that mission. It's been our mission for the last 7 years. We're going to continue to do that. But what I'm going to say is that this new space actually allows for us to have multiple exhibitions at the same time, multiple programming. It's a bigger space than where we're coming from, and our artists now have a much better space to be able to respond to. So whether they want to increase in scale or they want to engage in larger sculptural works, this space allows for that.
The artists interrogate different subjects in their works of art as they explore issues from cultural, religious, political, and contemporary perspectives.
Selecting some of these works were very exciting for us because we felt that he offered a very interesting approach to thinking about what drawing could be, especially in contemporary art from Nigeria and Africa. And then it's also really tied into this idea of creating and building world from nothing, from a blank canvas or a blank page, which the gallery is also referred to as sort of blank canvas. And for thinking about, the gallery has been very invested. In fact, one of our core focus is creating a platform for younger emerging artists to try. And so we are always looking to sort of mentor and sort of guide, and more importantly also show artists who make very interesting and exciting and critical work, and creating a platform for them to try.
After being housed at the Freedom Park Unicon for about 7 years, the Rele Art Gallery now has space to show works of art done by veteran, contemporary, and up-and-coming artists in all sorts of media. It's a conversation on migration that reveals itself in the images displayed as this group exhibition at Artpedia Gallery in Lagos dissects the idea of home. Is it here, a place one lives, and there, a place where one longs to move to in order to find peace and comfort?
My art evolves with time. So I am one of the people who believes art shouldn't be static. It shouldn't be, I'm painting night scene, art remains night scene. I believe I should be able to express everything that is within me. I would like to die empty, pulling out every art that is in me for the world to see.
This quest that the grass appears greener on the other side finds expression through these paintings and other works of art. But the artists question the reason for the movement in the first place, whether it's within the African continent to Europe or from rural to urban setting.
I did a lot of masks, but all of them are representing human beings. I have some words that the title is Friends. You know what friends are to us. Sometimes we don't know where to go, what to do, how to solve some problems. We need friends. So they are like a home for us when we have some when we worry. The other words, the title is soulmate. So a woman and a mother find themselves to build a home. So it's 2-3 topics I develop in my works.
Using their different media, the artists explore not just the reason for migration, but how people make that choice, which eventually becomes home.
The focus of the exhibition is for us as humans, as Africans, as people, to look beyond borders, to look beyond territories, to look beyond the country that we are from, and look within ourselves as humans, first of all, how we relate to one another, the love that binds us, the love, the bond and the value that we share as humans and not as people from a particular territory.
East or West, home is the best. Home is where the heart is. A few comforting words people use to validate their choices. These artists want them to always remember that true happiness depends not really on the environment, but on the individual.
For those on our various social media platforms, here's what you sent in this week. We look at them, then Arthouse will return in a moment. Stay with us.
And these are the works of art you sent in this week. So these are the issues artists have explored this week. Let's begin with David Udoka's Pride in Labor, a watercolor on watercolor paper image. Then Bright Future is what Marcellinus Okonkwo has captured with his charcoal pencil on paper work. Then Afro Series is Toby's digital painting. The Lagos bus stop is Emily's acrylic on canvas work. Then Tiptoe is an oil pigmentation work done by Tomiwa Adelagun. Then Oluchi Nwoko is showing us the beauty of sleep with this acrylic on canvas work. Staying with acrylic on canvas medium is Salisu Omonu with Our Heads Are Different. Emancipation is a cropped oil on canvas piece done by Ali Ochewu. Then this figurative portrait painting is titled African Gele, done with oil color on canvas by Kenny Oluwadamilare. He says Gele is a crown of beauty that adorns an African woman's head. It's our heritage and always adds that beauty and glamour. Finally, we have rhythms, tones, lyrics, beats, sound. It's done by Kehinde Muraina, also with acrylic on canvas. And that concludes the works of art you sent in this week. We do encourage you to keep them coming.
It's better for an artist to create a style for himself rather than copy another artist.
The Enwonwu name has already been established in the art scene, all thanks to Ben, but his son, Oliver, continues to sustain the legacy in this creative family. We visit his Ikoyi studio in Lagos to enjoy his work process and see what makes him stand out.
These are Oliver Enwonwu's tools of trade: brushes in different shapes and sizes, paints and tubes, palette, easel, other conventional and unconventional objects, as well as a lot of happy helpers, studio assistants. All on deck to learn a thing or two from the founder of Menka Art Gallery, who springs from a generation of creatives.
Artistic experience is quite broad. I engage art in many ways. I mean, for instance, firstly, I'm a painter. I come from a long line of artists. Secondly, I used to be the president of the Society of Nigerian Artists, that's in administrative capacity. You know, I'm also a publisher. So in various ways, I'm engaged in the art, and so I have a very broad experience from being an actual practitioner, a painter, to an administrator, to a publisher, you know, so it's very multifaceted.
It's a lucky day for the Arthouse team as we catch him putting finishing touches to this live portrait painting session of one of his clients turned friend who enjoyed the process.
I think Oliver is an incredible genius. I love his paintings, especially his portraitures and his masquerades. At the last show that he had, I saw one of the Wanderer series, and I loved it so much. I decided at that point when we met that he would be one I'd like to capture me.
I like to celebrate African achievement, you know, and I try to document these people in beautiful canvases. And I think it's very important because for us, the best way to fight institutional racism and to project an other image of ourselves away from the exotic, away from the safari, away from one of a corrupt nation, is to celebrate those who are doing extremely well, you know, on our landscape. And so portraiture is exceptionally important for me. And it's, for me, every great portrait is not just about capturing the likeness of the sitter, but also his essence. And what do I mean by essence? I mean his personality. I mean, it starts with having a chat, you know, with the sitter. It's getting to know the sitter better. It's about having to capture, you know, some of his traits right on the canvas. So when you see him, you don't even need to be told, just from the body movement, the way he sits, you know, the way he tilts his head, you know, all of these are very important elements of portraiture. And it's a very exacting art, and for me, it's the highest, you know, form of painting when you're able to capture someone's likeness and someone's essence. For me, it's like creating. It's almost like what God, you know, did. So in that way, artists are elevated and are very special, and I feel very privileged to have people like him sit for me, you know. And I think it's a stamp of approval of my competence. So it's something I'm really privileged and happy, you know, to do.
His style is as unique as his father's, Ben Enwonwu, whom he learned the fundamentals from before even receiving any sort of formal education. So it's no surprise that their themes are similar, with the beauty of tradition taking prominence, but there's a signature touch.
They say that the son of a carpenter will know about a hammer and nails. So, I mean, I'm third in the line of artists. My grandfather was a sculptor, traditional sculptor of repute in Onitsha, where I'm from. My father is celebrated as Africa's pioneer modernist artist. At the height of his film, The Queen sat for him in 1957. I too, of course, you will see some of the influences, the elongated form, some of the masquerades. But of course, in those works, you'll still see great differences because, of course, you know, I interpret in my own way, based on my own experiences, you know, living in this century or these times, you know, so our experiences are different. So what you might see are a few influences, but of course you will still see Oliver Enwonwu in all of those paintings.
Like his fathers, Ben Enwonwu, who is one of Nigeria's most legendary artists, master artists. There's a similarity between them, but there's also a difference with the masquerade. He's almost looked like they're elevated, almost like going into the heavens, whilst his dads were more grounded on earth. I've always wondered why, or what the inspiration is for why he's are that way. And for his portraits, they're just magnificently detailed. When I was staring at mine just now, just looking at it and seeing myself, and even some parts of myself that I didn't realize was there, it's just very powerful as an artist to be able to tell you and other people a great story.
The artist always pays attention to details with his majestic presentations while keeping the family art custom alive, something that resonates with his collectors and obvious in his sold-out exhibitions.
My paintings are in classical style, and I feel that it's important in the sense that, you know, in Western narratives of art, especially with portraiture, you see Africans in subservient positions, you know, but you see my paintings, you know, they are very strong, they're direct, the gaze is powerful, it's looking back at the audience or the viewer, and I think that it's telling a story of the new African. You know, one who is confident, one who is coming into his own, one who has gone through such experiences like colonialism and coming to define his or herself, you know. So I think that, you know, you see that in my work.
Coming from a family of creatives, from his grandfather to his father, the former national president of the Society of Nigerian Artists had his secondary school at King's College, Lagos. He obtained his first university degree in biochemistry from the University of Lagos. He holds a master's degree in applied geophysics and visual arts from the same university.
Going behind the scenes surely has its rewards. It makes one better appreciate the exhibition when it eventually happens. We'll see that and an intriguing production on the next episode of Arthouse.
Still to come on Arthouse.
There are some interesting titles on the next episode, like Now I Know Why Birds Fly, a solo art exhibition by Yofe Olarinde at the African Art Foundation in Lagos. Then, in another part of the commercial city, we enjoy this play written and directed by Tunji Aziz, titled The Kangaroo Mothers.
What I went through to...
We encourage you to keep liking, sharing, and viewing our page so more people can enjoy the ever-bubbly and ingenious art scene in the country. Your Arthouse experience doesn't have to end when the show is not on television. Interact with us on our various social media platforms. See any edition of Arthouse on our website or YouTube page. Join our very interactive Facebook page by joining the group on Arthouse on Channels. We're everywhere.
That's Arthouse today. Thank you so much for always being a part of it, and we look forward to interacting with you on any of our social media platforms. But in the meantime, feel free to view, like, and share this and other episodes of the program. I'm Melinda Akinlami. Do stay safe and keep being creative.